Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to this podcast where we explore ideas, challenges, and innovation sharp in today's classroom. I'm Juan Luis, your host, and today we are diving into a topic that affects the whole educative community, such as teachers, students, and families. That is today's educational reality. So, to help us address this topic, I'm thrilled to be joined by many English language educators. So, before we jump into this discussion, I would love to hear all of you introduce yourselves. So, let's start with you, Anthony. Please introduce yourself.
Cheers, Juan Luis. It's brilliant to be here with such as dedicated colleagues. My name is Antonio Benito. I've been teaching English at a secondary school for about 3 years. My journey started because I always king of literature, but it soon realized that teaching is actually about giving young people a voice. It's been quite rewarding experience seeing teenagers gain confidence, not just in their language skill, but in themselves also.
Great, Anthony. It's really great to hear that shift you went from literature to teaching. Hmm, thank you. So, what about you, Elena?
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a real pleasure to be here with all of you today. My name is Elena Oceda. I am currently teaching English in a primary school. My journey began with a strong passion for helping students connect with the world through language. For me, it has never been just about grammar or vocabulary. It has always been about the doors that English can open, doors to different cultures, global conversation, and opportunities my student might not otherwise have. Teaching English is my way of helping them widen their world.
That's great to hear, Elena. And yes, you're right. English can give all of us different opportunities to, just like you said, to widen our world. Thank you. What about you, Ruby? Please introduce yourself.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. I am really happy to be here today and to be part of this conversation. My name is Ruby Gomez, and at the moment I am teaching private English classes to students at different levels. I work with learners from various backgrounds, which has allowed me to understand the different challenges of students face when they are learning a new language.
Yes, thank you very much, Ruby. As you said, students have different challenges when, well, learning a new language. And don't worry because we're going to discuss this in just a few minutes. And to finish with this introduction, please, Jacqueline.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Jacqueline Najarro, and I've been teaching English for 7 years in both schools and language centers. I've worked with many different students, and teaching has become something I really enjoy. I'm always looking for new and creative ways to make my classes better and help my students learn in a fun and clear way. I'm happy to be here and learn from all of you.
That's great. Yes, I'm also thrilled, happy for all of you to be here since we're going to discuss something very important, such as today's educational system. So, great. Thank you for your answers, for your introductions. So, let's move on to the first question. And that is, from your perspective or point of view, how would you describe today's educational reality in your classroom or a school context where you teach English, in other words? Let's start with Jacqueline this time.
Yes, Juan Liz. From my experience, today's educational reality is full of new challenges and new opportunities. Many students need more support and with motivation and attention. So I always try to make my classes more dynamic and meaningful. I also see that technology is becoming a bigger part of learning, which pushes me to keep innovating and finding better ways to teach. Even with the challenges, I feel that students are curious and capable. They just need the right guidance and a positive environment to grow. So for me, this really motivates me to keep improving as a teacher every day.
Yes, thank you very much. You mentioned something very important in today's education, and that is technology. We're going to discuss about this for the next question. But for now, let's keep with this question in particular. So, what about you, Ruby, regarding this first question? What's your answer?
Well, from my perspective, today educational reality is a mix of opportunities and challenges, where students now have more access to information than ever before, but they also face more distractions and academic pressure. In my experience, learners are curious and creative, but sometimes overwhelmed or anxious. This means that teaching today requires not only knowledge, but also empathy, flexibility, and emotional support.
Yes, exactly. Education mm, nowadays cannot only be about knowledge. It also needs to be about, let's say, just like you say, values or empathy and emotional support. Since, of course, students are not just computers; they are human beings. What about you, Elena?
As a primary teacher in a public school, the educational reality is a balance of significant challenge and meaningful progress. I think after the pandemic, students are at very different academic levels and still need a strong emotional support. Limited access to technology means the classroom is their main space to learn. So teaching requires creativity. Despite these difficulties, students show resilience, curiosity, and enthusiasm, especially when learning through games, songs, and stories. The goal is not only to teach English, but to create a safe, a supportive environment where every child feels capable, valued, and motivated to learn.
Mhm. Exactly, just like I think Ruby mentioned it. Um, the students needs to feel secure and safe in the classroom, since that will help them to learn, let's say, English in this occasion, right? So let's see, Anthony, what's your answer regarding this first question?
Well, from from where I stand in secondary education, the reality is quite fast-paced and result-driving. We are seeing a lot of pressure for many of the students to pass the exam, which often causes stress and also anxiety because there are pressure by parents and also for teachers as well, which they are incredible teach savvy. It's noticed a decline in their ability to communicate face to face. So we need to they are connected online. They prefer they do that. Or maybe use online games. Yet often feel isolated that in the real world. So for me, the current reality involves balancing strict academic targets with a need to develop their social skills.
Yes, you're right. Nowadays, students are quite stressed when it comes to their grades, their scores. While in reality, schools should focus on, let's say, on what they learn, on the context, also where they are. There are things that are certainly more important than just the grades or scores. Great. Thank you very much for your first answers. So let's move to the second question, and that is, how have technology and post-pandemic changes shaped the way your students learn English today? So this time I would like to start with Anthony.
Okay, well, I reckon technology has been an important and significant impact in our society, and also there are double-edged swords. One hand, having immediately access to apps, and also we have the opportunity to download authentic material, and also the learners have the same opportunity that with us, and also it's very incredible useful. However, post-pandemic, I've noticed that students expect instant results. They are used to short videos, so their attention span for reading longer text has shortened significantly. There are also quite relations of translations tools. So a big part of my jobs now is currently then to trust our brains rather than just using Google for everything. And also we have nowadays the AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and also students use a lot of that to do the housework and also for study too.
Yes, exactly. Um, well, technology, of course, has their own advantages and disadvantages. I do believe it's important to, let's say, have a balance between it because, just like Anthony mentioned, it can help us in many ways. Um, Now, I would like to ask Elena, yes, what's your answer?
From my point of view, technology and the post-pandemic experience have changed how my students learn English, making them more engaged with interactive digital content like games, quizzes, and short videos. However, unequal access to device means technology is mainly used inside the classroom. The pandemic also reinforced the importance of a human-centered approach. So I now combine digital tools with emotional support and handles collaborative activities. This balance helps technology enhance learning while keeping meaningful human connection at the center.
Yes, just like well, we mentioned previously with Anthony's answer, it's very important to have a balance on this technology tool with these technology tools. So students cannot become, let's say, dependent on them. Um, Now tell me, Ruby, what's your opinion regarding this question?
Well, I believe that technology in post-pandemic change have strongly shaped how students learn English. And today, learning goes beyond books in the classroom. The students use videos, apps, online platforms, and digital resources to practice the language in real situations. However, after the pandemic, many students struggle with concentration, motivation, and social interaction. That is why, as teachers, we now try to combine technology with face-to-face activities to make learning more dynamic and meaningful.
Oh, absolutely. That last word is actually very important, meaningful. Education nowadays needs to be meaningful. So the students can learn quicker and better. Yes. Um, let's see, Jacqueline, what about your answer?
Well, from my point of view, technology and the post-pandemic changes have really transformed how my students learn English. They know, they now need lessons that are more dynamic and interactive. So I've made my classes more immersive, even using metaverse spaces to present content. And this helps students stay engaged, participate more, and feel more connected to what they are learning.
Oh, well, that's actually quite nice to hear that you're using different technological tools such as the metaverse, right? The use of virtual augmented reality that is actually quite innovative in, well, in the educational era. In, yes, that's very interesting. Now, let's move on to the next question, and that is, what challenges do you face when trying to keep your students motivated and engaged in English learning? For this question, I would like to start with Ruby.
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges I face is keeping students motivated. Many students see English as just another subject instead of a useful tool for the future. Also, each student learn a different pace, so it is not always easy to meet everyone's needs. I try to motivate my students by using real life topics, music, videos, and exercise that connect English to their daily lives.
Yes, let me tell you, I absolutely agree with you when you say uh, that English is more than just a subject or, let's say, a course in a school. English can be helpful when it comes to, let's say, having better opportunities, or when on if or if you want to know more about a culture. So it definitely should be more than just another course. Thank you. What about you, Elena?
Well, one of the greatest challenges is the uh, wide a wide range of English levels in my classroom. Some students can speak simple sentence, while others are still learning basic letters. Many also struggle with short attention spans and fear making mistakes. To keep primary students motivated, I use positive reinforcement like stickers and stamps. I also make praise a constant part of the routine, so every child feels safe to speak English, even if they make mistakes.
Yes, thank you, Elena. Exactly. This is something, well, this is a very important aspect to have a look, especially if you teach in a classroom, that there are going to be slow and fast learners. So once again, we need to try to keep it balanced when it comes to prepare a lesson. And you also mentioned the use of stickers as a reinforcement. Well, let me tell you from experience that that absolutely works, especially with young children. Let's see. What about your answer, Jacqueline?
One challenge I face is that many students lose focus or lose interest quickly, especially with so much technology around them. Another challenge is keeping every student motivated because each one learns differently and needs different kinds of support. Sometimes they also feel shy or afraid to make mistakes in English. So I have to create activities that help them feel confident And even with this challenge, I try to make my lessons more interactive and meaningful so they stay engaged and enjoy learning.
Yes, just like we have been mentioning, technology is actually a double-edged sword because it can either be it can either be good or bad for education nowadays. Some students might get distracted by it, so that is something important to take into account. Um, so let's see, Anthony, what about your answer?
Well, I think working with teenagers is the main challenge is definitely the fear of embarrassment. At this age, peer pressure is massive, and they are terrified of getting the answer wrong in front of their mates. This makes speaking activities quite tricky, so they keep them engaged. I try to use topics that are relevant of their culture, like social media trends or modern music, so they forget they're a student and just focus on expressing their opinions as well.
Yes, that is also another issue that we've got nowadays in education that students are afraid. They have the fear of making a mistake in front of their classmates, since that can provoke, let's say, well, and that in the end, their peers can make fun of them. And that is something that we need to work on, definitely. Right then, let's move on to the last and final question, and that is, looking ahead to the future, of course, uh, what is one change you believe would improve teaching and learning in today's educational system? For this one, I would like to start with Jacqueline.
One change that I believe would really improve teaching and learning is giving students more interactive and student centered experiences. Instead of only focusing on traditional methods, we should create lessons that let students explore, participate, and practice more actively. This includes using technology in smart ways, giving teachers more training, and creating environments where the students feel confident to try, make mistakes, and learn at their own uh, pace. I think this shift would make a learning much more meaningful and motivating for everyone.
Yes, Jacqueline, I definitely agree with you, especially when it comes to technology training for teachers. Because if we want to use technology in the most efficient way, then of course teachers should know how to use that on their favor. Hmm. Thank you. Let's see. What about you, Ruby?
Well, I believe education should focus more on developing emotional intelligence and critical thinking, and not only on memorization, where students should learn how to express themselves, work as a team, and manage their emotions. When students feel supported and understood, learning becomes more effective and meaningful.
Oh, yes, absolutely. When it comes to teaching in general, it should be meaningful, important for them. It cannot only be about memorization, because that would also help students to learn much quicker. Thank you. What about you, Elena?
Well, the one change I could have the most profound impact on is a fundamental shift from focusing on finishing the curriculum to focusing on developing real skills and supporting the students' well-being. Instead of racing to complete every unit, we should prioritize we should prioritize the skills that truly prepare students for life. On the other hand, I believe curricula should be updated to include subjects that reflects the realities of today's world, such as digital literacy, coding, and artificial intelligence, so students can build practical competencies while also growing emotionally and socially.
Yes, Elena, thank you for your answer. And as you said, um, the world in general has changed a lot these last few years with the emergence of, for example, AI technology or with the virtual reality. So I think a change in the curricula um, would be quite necessary right now, of course. Let's see, to finish this off, please, Anthony.
Well, from experience, in the Peruvian systems, I believe the most urgent change is bridging the gap between the urban and rural educations. Currently, there is a massive difference in resources between the schools in Lima and also, and thus is the improvement. We need to invest more in teacher training and infrastructure nationwide, not just in also in the capital. If we ensure that the students in a remote village have the same high quality teaching and internet access, so as students in the city, we will see a huge improvement in the country overall level in English.
Exactly, Anthony. That is one of the main issues that we've got here in the country, and that is the centralization of everything, not just education. So that is something that we as a country need to work on. Yes, one of the main problems of that is that a teacher has to adapt to what he or she has in, well, in the context, of course. Okay, so with that, we have finished with this episode. Yes, so I would like to thank all of you for sharing your insights, your experiences, and your point of view. It's clear that while today's educational reality brings, of course, challenges, it also offers new opportunities for creativity, connection, and growth. So, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.